Sir, I want to take a search for 269.
Okay.
Pick it up here.
Yep. Still have a couple people sign up. Most of them don't. Unless they specifically ask for someone to camp you not to. They ask how you lay out your problems, like an internet Did you always talk to her about you guys have some kind of raffle? Oh, okay. Raffles from time to time. Shares. All right. Well, I can donate a pretty nice prize when it comes out. Okay, what about Baker thing? Well, I need to put this together. See,
I don't remember that. He probably has. I'm sure he has.
Again, team captains, be sure that you filled out the raffle ticket. Somebody today is going to walk home with a, what do they call this? Oh, an Amazon tablet. So if you know what that is and you want one, fill out the form, turn it in right over here to my left, and I'll be happy to pull out the winner at the end of the meeting. That guy right there.
Oh, that guy.
I got a Scott McGuire. Is that who that is?
Scott McGuire, yeah, American Blast Systems.
Put it on there.
Princeton, so small I couldn't read it.
I think that's.
Yeah, I got the
Water. And national right here.
Yeah, there was 3 of them there. I couldn't remember this one. He didn't smile. Not once, but he smiled. Overseas? You gonna go up after Southern? No, my guys that work with Sullivan and the stores calling. What are you doing to me? You're killing me. Frankie's going to make some changes for sure. The big joke this year for the big Myers. Find the big pocket area. Dude, look what I got! I'm gonna tell you
that we have a chance to break it.
Were you blaming last month on me? I asked last night.
Can you read lips?
Yeah. Good. So they hired a roofing company. So, well, time you do it again.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, please take a seat and we'll get started. Always the best attended, the last meeting of the series. Welcome to the Academy and welcome to the race. Both of us, you and me, and all of the folks that work on this event, have the very limited left time to do all of the things that need to get done. If you work on it and do it diligently, then you'll get your function finished, I'll get ours done, and the race will come off. Not easily, of course, and it never is an easy event. But if you put your mind to it and you put the attention to it, then we can overcome any of our difficulties. We have many guests in here today, many vendors in here today, and let me introduce them. We'll start at this end here. This is Mobile Radio Relays. Next to them is National Life, who are raffling off a tablet today, and who have over the period of time now raised a lot of money for people in barbecues, and they said they have some March dates available, so please stop in and talk to them. This is Pat Larrigan. Pat, raise your hand. Pat has a challenge coin. If you did not get your challenge coin today, don't leave the room today without getting your team challenge coin. One per team. So we don't have to take those to Las Vegas. We'll take the extras there that we don't hand out today. Lap Rack store and gift store. Be sure you stop in and talk to them about flashing vests. I didn't ask Debbie how many are remaining, but remember to get those today. Next is American Blast. Where are you there, guys? Oh, there's your hands. Oh, I forgot the credit union. They're tucked around the corner. This is the LA Police Federal Credit Union, our title sponsor for our race. So please stop by there and say thanks for their gracious donation. Then we have American Blast. They're putting out their equipment. Next to them, very important folks in our operation, putting out your reflective number and your caution runner ahead sign. That's Smitty back there. Smitty. Next to Smitty is Printware. If you've still got money left in your budget, now's the time to try to spend it. Move all the way around to this end of the room, and in the back corner over here is our supplier of water. This is Ghost Water. So be sure if you didn't pick up a bottle of water and it's still remaining here, do pick up their water. They're going to donate it for our race. A bit of business here. This is a pair of prescription sunglasses left on the veranda out here. I found them laying there, so if they belong to you, please stop in and get these. They'll kick around my office for a little while longer, and then I'll throw them out. So if they're yours, come and get them. Yesterday, when I checked my mail, we had 275 teams, or 277. Today, 2 have dropped out. We have 275. My estimation is a few more will probably bite the dust, and that's unfortunate. But right now, we stand at 275 teams. I would go through this entire list of categories and number of teams, but let's cut to the chase here. On the 7th of March, you have till then to decide if you're going to change categories. The 7th of March. After the 7th of March, I cannot change the amount of mugs per category. That'll be impossible to change. So if you're thinking about changing and you're looking at it, then look at it real hard, come up with what you're going to do, and let me know. Our attempt, as every year, to make it possible is to come up with 50% of all the teams in a category would get a mug, 24 mugs. But we'll try to make that happen. If something happens after the 7th of March and you have to change, then please notify me of that. And unfortunately, it'll unbalance things, but I know that's the way it has to be. So if something happens to you after that, but try your best, 7th of March. Estimated time, that is due Friday, the 3rd. As I told Tony, he and I are going to come into the office on Saturday and work like the devil to get all of the start times finished. Cannot make that move until I have every single team's estimated time. So by Friday, when I check all that mail, if I'm missing a half a dozen, then you're going to get one mean, nasty phone call from me saying, I don't have it. Even if you think you sent it in, you've sent in a blank form, and I don't have it. I don't have a crystal ball. I can't guess at your time. So I'm going to need to know what that is. So if I have to call you, that's not good news. You'll see my number flash up. You darn sure better answer the phone. Because I'm not going to stop at one person. I will chase you down wherever you are. Go right through your department, right through everybody in the department, and you tell them just how important it is to find you wherever you are. So let's not have to do that. Send in your estimated time and get that to me. All things happen right. That information will be available on Sunday. If I can get it posted on Sunday, I will. If I have to send it to you in some fashion, I'll do that. But whatever the case may be, by Monday, it will be on the website, all of the start times. If you were paying close attention, you saw that the information that went out yesterday afternoon indicated who is your volunteer. It had their name there. Check that name. Number one, is it right? Number two, have you contacted them to say, do you understand your assignment? Have you gotten your paperwork? I get kickbacks on emails. Once in a while I have time, I chase them down. If I do not have time, I do not chase it down. I depend on you to get that information to them. It's your responsibility because it's your team that will take the major violation of a volunteer not showing up to the right place at the right time and understanding their job. So be sure you get that right. If you must change volunteers, and that does happen when the reality strikes that they've gotten assigned to stage 16 in the middle of the night, in the middle of the cold, and that's not what they were looking for. If that happens, send me the new volunteer. Change the information and get it out. If it happens too late, then it doesn't matter, as long as that person knows where to go and what to do. They can show up, they can strike out the name of the person that was going to be there and add their own. We can do that if we have to, and we do every year. Very important in our operation is a change in the medical plan. We've gone through many months now of effort and work and coordination. And I want to bring up Dr. Troy Pennington. If there's key people in this race that make things happen, and a bit of luck perhaps, but also just the good nature of people that see what we're trying to do and are willing to help. Well, this is a person willing to do just more than help. This takes a coordination of an entire hospital. This is Arrowhead Regional Medical Center. their training facility for emergency room doctors. Troy has more than just stepped up. He has stepped up, and the hospital has stepped up to change our operation at the California side of medical, in which case there will be a doctor, or more than one, and certainly a physician assistant at these stages who will be there to direct the medical operation of incoming runners. Along with all of our additional medical personnel that are there, we have stepped up to this level of care. And I told Troy to address the crowd just a bit.
Great. Thank you, Chuck. I appreciate it. Yeah, my name is Troy Pennington. Again, I'm an emergency room physician. I started actually my career as a firefighter paramedic, and back in the 80s, I was a member of the Ventura County Sheriff's Department Air Unit Search and Rescue Team. I've been at Arrowhead since 2004. When people hear Arrowhead Regional Medical Center, you think of a calm little quiet place up in the mountains. Arrowhead is actually the San Bernardino County Hospital. We're one of the busiest trauma and burn centers in the state of California. And we've had the opportunity this year to become part of a very experienced medical team. I know that our medical team now this year looks like we've got nearly 160 people. We've got 22 physicians and PAs that are all emergency medicine trained. They're going to be coming from our residency training program and then joining the stations on the California side. So we really look forward to working with everyone. Just one little bit of medical advice too for you guys as team captains. I would just strongly encourage you to, give advice to your runners beforehand. Some of the trends that we're seeing, of course, you all know this. Many of you have done this for many years. Try to avoid having anybody, consuming any alcohol before the race. The energy drinks are bad news. The other trend that we see in a lot of endurance athletes is that they, sometimes take non-steroidal anti-inflammatories like Advil or Motrin, ibuprofen, naproxen prior to the event, or even during or immediately after. There's lots of studies that show that increases the risk of kidney failure and heat-related emergencies. So try to avoid NSAIDs. The other big trend that we see now, even at Costco, you can see these energy pre-workout medications, pre-workout gels and powders. These things are loaded with caffeine, other things that can increase your risk of cardiac arrhythmias. So that's another thing to kind of look for if your people are doing supplements and stuff like that prior to the event. That does put them at increased risk for other complications. So just look for some of these kind of common sense things. But we're really excited to be a part of the team this year, and look for us out there in the race. There's going to be probably somewhere between 20 or 30 of us spread out between those 8 stations.
If you have not reviewed the rule book, please do so. Take the portions of the rule book that pertain to follow vehicles or to runners, and be sure that those groups of people within your team take a look at those rules. They're common sense, they're laid out simple, not complex, but still every year we have somebody that costs your team a penalty when it was really something so simple that they should have read and should have known what to do. Thursday and Friday of this week, the race director and I and the surveyor of the course are headed for the course. We're there to look at 2 very critical areas of the race course, the town of Pahrump and stage 17. We're looking for the construction that's going on there and what's going to occur. So very vital that you pay attention to your email. Whatever the consequences of these meetings is going to be, I'm going to email you and let you know. It can change, it can be very simple, it can be absolutely the way we have run it in the past, and it can also be a change. But whatever the case may be, pay attention to those emails. Every year I get a few emails and I want to scratch my head and say, why are you sending me this information? The only thing that you need to bring in on Friday at the team briefing in Las Vegas is your signed waivers. Every runner on your team must sign the waiver. If they're located spread out over the county or over the state, well, they can go online download the waiver, sign it, scan it, send it back to you, the team captain. But you're going to bring to us the signed waivers. We're going to give you your run plan. Your run plan is what's on the computer as of 10 o'clock Monday, March the 20th. At 10 o'clock, we will begin printing what you've sent us. That's the order in which you're going to run. Cannot begin that run printing until every single team has submitted 20 runners. You can have one alternate, no alternates, 20 alternates. It doesn't matter. But you must have the 20 runners plugged into the positions they're going to run. If you've left one off, the computer's going to tell me so, and I'm going to be right on that phone to you, or I'm going to put in Joe Jones. I'm going to put in a fictitious name if I have to, because I'm not going to hold up the printing. Let's make sure that you've done that. So we'll print those run plans based on what's in the computer system, 10 o'clock, Monday, March the 20th. No matter what changes between then and the race, or in the race itself, what changes. The following Monday, go back on the system, make all the corrections to what you did. By that time, the timing will already be done. All of the split times will be done. Now, matching the names to the split times is what has to occur. So let's be sure that you do that, and the wrong person doesn't get credited with the wrong time on the wrong stage. I sent you the Los Angeles Sheriff's Homicide Barbecue. They put one on every year. They're very gracious about that. Everything's free. Stop in and see it. I sent you the flyer. Please review that. By now, you should begin to have received your chiefs of police, sheriffs, agents in charge invitation to 2 events that are going to occur for their purposes. We've done this over the years now. This is an idea that dates way back to Larry Moore and the whole beginning of all of this, to say it's important for those people to see what do you do and why do you do this. So they're invited to these events. If you know by now that you've got a different agent in charge or a different chief of police than what you submitted to me on your team entry form, before you leave here today, downstairs in the lap rack office is Barbara Ginn. She is the one that sends out these invitations. If you do not get the invitation, your chief hasn't gotten the invitation, then be sure you stop in there, pick up her business card, follow it up with an email to her indicating that someone has not received the invitation. That event is from 3 to 5 on Sunday afternoon, and we certainly encourage you to attend that event. In the email I sent last night, which is a form status list. That form status list where it says RR is runner registration. If it is completely blank, that's because you haven't gone online and done anything. You haven't even put your name in there. If you see a small r, lowercase r, then you have gone online, which tells me you know your password and you know how to do this. The X means you've completed everything. Yes, and there's lots of teams that have completed everything, and unfortunately, there's lots of teams that haven't done anything. You got a little while to do this, but as I start to go through these next few days or weeks even, and if I see it completely blank, then I'm going to call you and say, do you know what you're doing? Are you so brand new you don't know? Or are you just waiting until the last minute to play cat and mouse with one another? What are you doing? Our timing system out there on the race course not only times it, takes a photograph. It'll take a photograph of that incoming runner. And believe it or not, we've used those photographs in the past to determine whether or not that runner was wearing a flashing vest when a rule comes up or a violation comes up. But you can look at this information at a later time if you choose to do that, and you'll see the incoming runner and you'll see the same ugly faces you see it every person that's finishing. No one smiles. Our briefing schedule, I will send that out in the email to everyone. The team briefing schedule begins 3 o'clock, Friday afternoon, Westgate Hotel Convention Area. We'll begin at 3 o'clock and we'll shut down at 6 o'clock. So you have 3 hours for 275 teams or something close to that to register your runners, which means you're going to bring in your waiver form and you're going to pick up the run plan. That's what occurs at the briefing. At 6:30, the follow vehicle drivers and their crews will have a briefing. Very important for your follow crews to be there. They are a very, very important group of people. So make sure your lead follow vehicle drivers and those that are going to be in that follow car, the passenger, are at that briefing at 6:30. At 7 p.m., the team captains, you will get a briefing from me there at the Westgate Hotel on all last-minute changes. Because no matter what we plan here, there'll be some last-minute change. It always happens in this next 30 days. I'm working out right now the final details of the baton decal. The names you submitted to me of the officers end of watch will be on that decal. We'll finish up that decal here in the next few days. It'll go on the batons. The baton that is issued to you as a team is yours to keep. The gift store here will have an additional 150 batons. You want more, then you're going to see them. First come, first serve. Finish line. Again, the same thing. We're inside of the convention room at the Westgate. That final runner will make the turn onto Paradise from Desert Inn, and the follow vehicle will leave the runner at that point. It gives you about 4/10 of a mile, 3/10 of a mile for that vehicle to get to the finish line, which means they're going to come into the main entrance of the Westgate Hotel. They're going to follow along the right-hand lane. There's a taxi stop there. Open up the door, let the passenger person out of the car with their final run plan in hand and come into the room. And I'll pay attention. Several teams in the last year stopped there, left their vehicle there like they were a taxi cab. That's not going to fly. The people that come out of there that work the finish line as volunteers are going to get very specific instructions from me to the OIC to them with a handful of blank violations. If you screw up out there, then you're going to get a violation for screwing up out there. Don't do that. You talk to your final driver of your follow vehicle and you let them know, yes, you stop there for a minute, let that person out. They run inside of the room, trying to get there before the last runner does. Turn that in, and then they go park that vehicle. Go park the vehicle. That's not where you leave the vehicle. It's not where you stop and stay a long time. So be sure you do not screw up out here. Smitty and the caution runner ahead sign. Facing the dilemma of vehicles today that do not have a metal back door. And without a metal back door, all those magnetic signs aren't going to work. So Smitty has come up with a means of putting a sticker in the back window that says caution runner ahead. But every team out here, every team needs to have one set of reflective numbers, your team number in the rear right window of that follow vehicle. So be sure you've done that. Or if you haven't done that today, then you get with Smitty right now and make sure you get those on order. Follow vehicle inspection. Let's be real clear here. We will inspect only a brand new team. Brand new, never run this race before, we will inspect your team. To those that have run this race a few years or many years, we will not inspect your team. We're not going to inspect your follow vehicle. We're going to expect that you will do that yourself. You'll have a self-inspection that all of the equipment you need in that vehicle is in that vehicle. Or if you're going to rent a car from Enterprise and you're going to pick that car up in Las Vegas, then all of your equipment has gone there. They're going to go to the follow vehicle check-in, or as I see quite often, they're going to stop at Baker School, put all of their equipment into their vehicle, and drive up to the checkpoint. Or they'll drive to the checkpoint and put their car together there, whichever way you want to do this. But the follow vehicle check-in location is where that follow vehicle must be 1 hour before you start. 1 hour. They get shuttled from that position up to the staging location where they're parked and waiting for the runner. And as you're sitting there right now, and I'm standing here right now, somebody's going to screw up because you didn't get the word to that driver. And they're going to be at staging when they should be at check-in. And your lead-off runner is going to be told, you cannot leave this location until that follow vehicle is where they're supposed to be. And then that first runner is standing there. Flight goes off, they're still standing there. And they're going to be very angry with you or with somebody here for making a foul up. So don't foul up. Follow closely what they have to do. It's real simple. 1 hour before you start, follow vehicle check-in. Additional mugs. If you are fortunate and lucky and you're good and you win mugs and you want more, I will send you the flyer from, what's the name of the company, Ruben? Name of the mug company. Edwards Industries. Couldn't think of the name of the company there, sorry. Edwards Industries, and you'll see the flyer. You want to order additional mugs, that's fine. Milton, the person I work with there, sent me a note yesterday saying somebody asked to have a mug, say 4.6 miles, blah, 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 on their mug. And I said, boy, this guy really wants it personalized. Just doesn't want a mug, he wants to have a mug with all this. Well, don't drop it and break it. And I said, hey, listen, if you want to do that, that's up to you, Milton. You want to personalize a mug, go through all that trouble, go ahead. If it doesn't cost you a lot of money or a heartache to do it, fine. It doesn't bother me to do that. Additional mugs can be purchased. You can buy additional mugs. He's giving you a date way off in the future as a deadline, September. If you don't think about ordering mugs until September, well, there's something truly wrong with how you're ordering mugs. But that's how the due date is. War room operations, 0600 Sunday morning. The war room becomes operational. They will have taken in all of the data over the first 15 stages and begun to look at what's occurred out there. Very important, folks. Your cell phone does not work out there in Shoshone. So forget it, turn it off. But when you're in Las Vegas, your cell phone is going to work. I'm going to give the war room your name, your cell phone number, your co-captain, their cell phone number. If they must call you, then you answer the phone. If they're going to call you, they're looking for information. They're going to call you, it's because it's a major violation, not a 5-minute penalty for parking incorrectly. So they're going to be looking for you. Be sure that it's on. Our object here is to post the unofficial results at 11 o'clock. At 11 o'clock, we're going to post in front of the war room the unofficial results. That's going to tell you whether you got a penalty or not. Take a look at that. We're going to try to post these on the website as well. Look at it there. But be sure that you don't have a penalty. And as commonly happens, you might look at those unofficial results, and as Scott is sitting here right now, and realize you won a mug the first time in 35 years, only to realize that there's people underneath you that did get a penalty, that has the penalty removed, and all of a sudden you go from 3rd place and getting a mug to 6th place and you don't. Break your heart. So be sure you look at those unofficial results and realize they're just that, unofficial results. Now they have a time frame to operate, to go from the unofficial results to the official posting of the results at 4 p.m., 1600. Now we are going to post the official results. Once that's done, folks. Not going to change those. Not for any reason whatsoever will the results change once we posted them as official. No matter whether you come and cop out to a murder, it wouldn't matter. All right? We're not going to change them. The awards program, 5 p.m. 5 p.m. We have just a really nice awards program again. Please do attend that. Take a look at what goes on. Once results are made official at 1600, plaques and mugs can be picked up. The top 3 in every category will come to the stage. So we'll pull out those plaques of the top 3 teams of every category. And if that's you, it's your time to come up on the stage. You've never been there before and now you made it, well, good for you. But you're going to have that opportunity to come to the stage. So we appreciate you doing that. Be prompt, be on there, be ready to go, and you'll come up on the stage. If I have to call you on Tuesday or Wednesday after the race and say, hey, there's 2 cases of mugs here, why didn't you pick them up? You got them, you worked very hard to get them, but you didn't pick them up, and now we have to manually take them from where they're displayed, put them back on a truck, unload them here, take them to my office, and plop them down. Now I've got to call you. Bad enough to have to call you about your plaques, but the mugs, shame on you for not picking those up. But pick up everything. Plaques, every single team here will get a plaque. Everyone. No matter where you finish in this race. Be sure to pick that up. I still have them kicking around my office from 2 years ago. And eventually I throw them away. Don't let me do that. I mentioned Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Be sure that if you're picking up 15-passenger vans, you make that reservation for a 15-passenger van. Get that done today. Your other vehicles, yes, those are the ones you want to use. As many rental cars as you can and avoid your own personal car out there. I'm going to include in the minutes here phrases and words that Larry would always tell teams at this particular moment, and it was absolutely accurate. You get into a panic mode because you've gone from 25 runners to 21 runners to 20, no alternates. Now you're down to 19 and you're scrambling. How do you keep this thing glued together? The minute a team senses that it's going to fall apart, it falls apart real fast. Even the rock-solid people you thought you had on your team will call you up and say, I'm not going. Cancel everything. So be prepared. And as prepared as you can be, you'll avoid that problem. On this trip to the course is a stop at the Barstow CHP to let them know about our event in a little more detail. what we're asking them to do, but it's important. You know, we're all law enforcement officers out here. Let's treat each other with a great deal of respect in what we're trying to do. And if you approach it safely and sanely, we'll never have a problem. But we're going to stop and talk to the Barstow CHP, to the Bureau of Land Management, and then out to Baker to talk to the school. The school is going to produce a cookbook. And I talked in an email now to the principal, and she has been gathering recipes for some time now, and now they're going to produce a cookbook. And what I told her is all the teams coming through Baker are going to be directed off the roadway onto the school grounds. Their vehicles are going to get marked. They're going to drive around the flagpole, and on their beginning to exit will be these Baker school kids. And as I told them, bring out all the cookbooks. Everybody will buy a cookbook. Cost you 20 bucks. Everybody. I don't care whether you boil water. Everyone will buy a cookbook. So be sure that your vehicle is prepared to stop, all of you, and buy a cookbook, as many as they can produce. It's for their benefit, and we're going to try to help them as much as we can. We're going to deliver a donation check to the school. All of you in here have donated to Baker School. And that check is $13,000 something. This is what we give the school. This is our donation to them. It takes care of their athletic program of their school for the year. So this is what we do for the community out there, because they help us in ways I can't even begin to describe to you what they do for us in making this event happen. So this is what we do for them. So please support those kids as much as you can. Follow vehicle driving. Highlights are in the minutes. I won't go through all of that right now. Highway 160 is, again, the sensitive area with construction on it on stage 17, and we're going to get a real personal close look of what that looks like and how we're going to proceed through that area this year. Highway 127 leading from Baker to Shoshone is not closed. It is an open roadway. Our purposes for the race, we run on the right shoulder of the road. The follow vehicle is to the extreme right, and we get through this area. There's some tough, narrow parts of it, but we manage our way here. Porta potties, 270 porta potties located on the race course. If you're first, you're a 9 o'clock starting team or an 8 o'clock starting team, pardon me, you don't have to worry about the condition of the porta potties. They're pristine. Your wife would go into one. That's how pristine they are. But if you're a 4 o'clock starter, you won't even go in one. That's just the way it is. But they're located there. If you're a late starter and you're one of the runners, then you know by now to bring your own toilet paper. If you don't, then shame on you for being not so planned out. But they're there, all 270. Flashing vest requirement. Again, stop at here at the gift shop store here and get your order in for flashing vests. 7 p.m., 7 a.m. Simple numbers to remember. And you'll hear the broadcast if you're at a stage location that says it is now 1900. Every runner leaving a stage at 1900 will be wearing a flashing vest. At 0700, the requirement drops. 19 to 0700. Sunday, as late as Monday, you'll know your starting time. From your starting time, you can determine who doesn't need a vest and who does. That'll give you an idea how many you need. The bib numbers. I had a team ask me today if it were possible to have a person's photograph on their bib number, and I said, I'm sorry. Those things are long since printed and on their way from Oregon to here at the Academy. Okay? Should this happen, please be sure you get this information to me as quick as you can. The only avenue left that's possible is to fill out the memorial information form, send it in here to Reuben Crane, along with a photograph, and that information, that photograph, will get posted and part of a PowerPoint at the award ceremony. That's your only avenue left. Otherwise, what will be on the baton is what you sent to me, and the photograph sent to me by the teams involved, that will be on your bib number. If you want something additional to that from the bib company themselves, then contact me. I'll put you in contact with the bib company, and it may be possible for you to get something special done for yourselves or that family. Team catchers. Again, every team needs to have a catcher at the exchange point. It will be one of the violations easiest spotted by the officials that are there. When the runner comes in and there is no one there to assist that runner with the medical staff to get that person to their car. That will be easy to spot. Team catcher is mandatory for every team to have a catcher at the exchange point. They have to have the bib number on, but it can be any bib so long as it matches the incoming runner, because that's what the official is looking for. The outgoing runner is 101. They're going to say, where's the catcher for 101? And it can be anyone wearing that 101. So it doesn't have to be the official catcher, it just has to be somebody there to be sure that that person knows what to do, where their car is, and all that sort of thing. Okay? Well, you should have a vest on, yes. You should have a safety vest on because you're roaming around with a lot of other people and you're crossing into traffic, so yes. A reflective vest and the bib number is what the catcher wears, okay? A change in these rules is that at the finish line, where in the past we've had no requirement for a catcher, we do have a requirement for a catcher. So the finish line will require you to produce a team catcher. Alternate runners certainly can run if they have to. If they're in the follow vehicle, then they're going to have to get up to that exchange point before the outgoing runner is needed to be able to change a name, to be able to get into their bib, get their bib numbers completely filled out, and then run. Alternate runners. If for any reason you have to substitute a runner, that's not difficult at all. That runner goes to the stage, tells them what team number they are, scratches out the person who was going to run there, prints in their own name, completes the information, and off they go. No penalty for this. Substituting runner does not have a penalty attached to it. If the runner that was scheduled to run, who's now late, whatever reason, shows up, they can go in your alternate pool and run somewhere else, should you need them. First runner, and this is where it really matters the most, not the other stages, but the first stage. Be sure that runner is there at least 30 minutes before they're going to run. An hour is better. Cut down to 30 minutes is getting pretty close. It takes them that long to tie their shoes and figure out which direction they're going to run in. So be sure they get there in enough time to get this all straightened out. We will have, again, 3 water stations in the first stage. That first runner is going to run without a follow vehicle for 3 miles. No turns in the course. They don't have to think about turning. It's a straight line. And they'll get an aid station once a mile. Then they'll get, at 3 miles, they'll hook up with your follow vehicle that's there. Shoshone Market and gas station will be open until 10 p.m. Then they close. The last runner should be making that turn right about that hour. And if you're the last team involved, then you know what it's like to be at the end of the parade. Not fun. But Shoshone will close down at 10 o'clock. I'm reminded in here about a couple things about runners. One, don't leave them there hours and hours in advance to just stumble around and like a lost dog. Don't do that. Plan your course much better than that. Lastly is don't forget them. We are not a taxi cab service. The RB support people there, who are amongst the last ones to be there, are not there to take a runner who has been left by his team and shuttle him up the race course somewhere. Because if it comes over the radio and I hear this information, it's going to be one simple answer. You tell them to stand in the roadway, put their thumb out, and wait for somebody to give them a ride. We are not going to do this. So be sure you're not leaving people behind. Stage 16 parking, the same as last year and the year before that. We keep getting a little bit better at it each time. Stage 16 parking is the archery range at the top of Mountain Springs Pass. The exchange point, unfortunately, is no better, no worse than it has been in the past. It's very small, very small. But the parking should be able to handle all of our vehicle needs to get in and get out. But you get one parking pass, one only. And that's the only vehicle that'll be allowed to pull into that area and park. Okay? So plan out who is your number 16 runner. They're going to pick up the number 15 runner. The driver of that vehicle is going to be the catcher. So it's a really compact, simple operation. 16 goes up there with one other person driving the car. They pick up 15, 16 goes running. You will not get to 17 before the 16th runner finishes. It is a short stage, and it's a rocket downhill. So you'll not get there. Come on up, Pete. For those who don't know this person by sight, you certainly know them by his voice. This is Pete Demetrio from KNX Radio. And Pete's going to mention to you and tell you a little bit about what his function is at the finish line as the announcer.
I'll make this brief. You have a great runner. He's coming in on 20. You want people to know who he is, what they are, what they're all about. Well, that's my role. I'll be on the mic at the finish line. If you want something special said, the way you do it is this. Write it out. Send an email to Chuck. He will send it to me between now and the 23rd of March. When you send something to Chuck, be brief. Last year I got descriptions on the wonderful last runner coming in that were 2 pages long. 2 pages long. I timed one of those out. It took me 3 minutes to read the damn thing, and I'm a pretty fast reader. Keep it brief. 2 or 3 lines. Who they are, what makes them special. If there's something funny in there, fine. Trust me, I'm the guy who can sit here and edit those pieces down. No more. 4 than 5 lines, that's what you have to have. Keep in mind, when the runner's coming in on 20 and across finish line, you've got maybe 30 seconds from the time we see them at the door to the time they cross the line. Therefore, by necessity, that description, that beautiful prose has to be brief. Get it to Chuck, he'll email it to me. One thing I don't want to see, but I know it's going to happen. 4:15, 4:20, 5 o'clock in the morning, one of you is going to come on up to me with a crumpled cocktail napkin with something written on it in smeared ink and say, "Can you read this about my runner?" I will try like hell to do so, but I would like to try to avoid it if I can. A little previous preparation prevents piss poor performance, and your runner will appreciate it too because they will have their moment of glory. By the way, one last thing. If there is something very unusual about your runner, like what he or she is going to be wearing, in a way, let me know beforehand. I don't want to have what happened 3 years ago with Los Angeles World Airports. With 90 seconds to go, they hand me a piece of paper, a cocktail napkin. Say this. Team 126, Los Angeles World Airports, I give you Batman. He came in a full Batman costume with a cowl and a cape flying across the line. Let me know about that beforehand, please. At the same time, start line, we'll do what we can for certain things on that if something's special. But by necessity, we really can't do it there because the time is way too tight. We only have 3 minutes from the time we get to the start line to the time where you go. Finish line, get your last runner information, get it to Chuck. Chuck will email it to me. That's all I have to say on that. Or since Chuck's on the phone, I'll continue talking. Any questions that you have or anything that I might be able to do? And oh, by the way, there is a possibility. There could be some television or network coverage out there on the race this year. Crossing my fingers. Or if I contact you with my KNX microphone, go ahead and talk to me. Why? I'm letting people know via the CBS radio network of what Baker to Vegas is all about. Last year, they were very interested. I'll tell you a story, very brief. 4:45 in the morning, I'm on the mic, my phone rings. It's CBS saying, can you do something at 6 o'clock? I said, great, only one problem. What's that? Pete, what's a parump? I had to explain to them saying, look, you know Lamar Odom? They said, yeah. I said, well, he got humped, pumped, and dumped in parump. After 90 seconds of laughter, they agreed it was funny, but we couldn't put that on the air. So at any rate, we'll do the best we can, and we'll get a little bit of publicity for Baker to Vegas and for all of you hardworking people who are out there. And with that, I'll step down. Chuck, up to you.
Absolutely nothing is easy. Nothing is easy. This is the decal individual I was just talking to right now, trying to describe what I envision on the decal and what's possible and trying to get all that done. Back to Highway 160 for a moment and stage 17. As I mentioned to you at the last meeting, there's a raised center permanent divider right around stage 17, lasts for 6 miles. And part of what I'm going to find out when I go out there is where exactly is this legal location to make a U-turn from westbound 160 coming out of Las Vegas to the eastbound side of the roadway to get to stage 17. I'm going to locate that spot. I know there is one out there. Map it out. Send it to you so that your runner coming to stage 17 will know where that's possible to do this. And again, this is a new area here. They put the center divider in because they have head-on crashes in the area, and it makes good sense to do that, but we have to figure out how we're going to adjust. I mentioned to you the briefing schedule, and as every year, I have probably about a dozen teams that cannot get to Las Vegas on Friday. I can tell you right now, if you leave Los Angeles at 9 o'clock in the morning to get to Las Vegas, you're still going to see heavy traffic. Leave here at noon, you're not getting there. You're just not going to get there. It'll take you 6 hours. That's just how much more traffic is out there, including us, to get to Las Vegas. If you miss the briefing, as teams do every year, then you have one other choice only. Come to Baker in the morning at 9 o'clock, and we'll register you there. We'll take your information there. To the teams that come directly from wherever they work to Baker, fine. Please let me know in advance, know who to expect. That helps, rather than just a process of elimination. When I go into the registration area and say, who's left, who didn't pick up their run plan? These dozen teams. That's pain to do it that way. I'd rather know in advance. So let me know. If you miss it because you're stuck in traffic, okay, that's going to happen to you. You didn't plan well enough. Jeff Lee, sitting in front of me right here, coordinates all of the radio frequencies, well into hundreds of radio frequencies, so that you're able to come out to the race course, use what you have brought with you, and it is coordinated. You're the only person who's talking on that frequency. Or if you're sharing the frequency with somebody else, at least you know that in advance. If you change for any reason, you add something for any reason, you must contact him. You must. If you do not, and they're monitoring all of these frequencies, one of the major screw-ups out here is to be jabbering away because you brought out your department radios thinking that that's going to work, when in reality what you've done is stepped on somebody else out there, and now you're broadcasting on their frequency, and you're interrupting their operation. You can't do that. So be sure, if you're going to change anything, alter it, whatever, you contact Jeff. He's going to tell you, yes, you can, or no, you can't. Plain and simple. I will include in the minutes an invitation. I think you see it on your tabletop here, of the parties that are going on in Las Vegas. This is the 33rd year of this race. The closest I've ever been to any of those events is watch a few people walk by. That's it. I've never made them, too pooped out by the time to ever enjoy this. But if this is what you want to do, the information will be available to you. Tickets are downstairs, wristbands, in the gift shop downstairs, if you're so inclined. I want to bring up the race director, if I get his attention there, Ruben. Come on up a second, Ruben. A couple of other events that are available to you. I think I sent them out to you already. The Car Museum, that's available. Buca de Beppo restaurant. I've been to them once, but please enjoy those things. They're available to you. They're in information. All of this activity, once you've accomplished the race, once that big responsibility you're carrying right now is off your shoulders. That will occur to you late Sunday, early Sunday morning, rather, late Saturday night. That operation will be off your shoulders. Then you can relax and enjoy yourself. But up till then, I expect your nose to the grindstone. Follow the rules. Ruben is both the race director and the chairman of the rules committee. I will tell you, it's not pleasant to have to penalize people and make you lose a mug or lose a category because somebody in your operation hasn't paid attention, just hasn't paid attention. And it's sad to do that, and really hurts them, hurts you. And for some people, there's nowhere to hide. You come from a small agency, there's no place to hide. If it's your screw up and you cost your team a mug or a win, where do you go? You're a big agency? Yeah, you can transfer and hide somewhere. Change your name, change your identification. But if you're not, there's nothing you can really do but take a heck of a beating. So be sure you don't do that. Yeah. While Ruben is finishing his business there, if you haven't completed this form, fill it out. In a second here, we'll have a drawing to see who wins this this device here. No instructions with it though. You're gonna have to figure that out for yourself, or go have your grandkids figure it out for you. No last minute ads to it? Okay, we'll have our winner then. Come on up. We'll have a totally independent, retired person pull it out here. Ruben, you pull it out. Like pulling out a lucky card here, right in the center. All right.
Lucky winner is Marcela Santiago. Yeah, could you lower it a little bit? Thank you. And bring my platforms. I'm not going to beat you up any more than Chuck already has. Just be safe and have fun. Most importantly, have fun. And the only thing I could reiterate that Chuck brought up was follow the rules. You know, the rules committee, we're there all day Sunday going over the rules and listening to protests. If during the race, you know something came up and you're either going to challenge it or you want to discuss it, you don't have to wait till Sunday afternoon. We're there at 0600 Sunday morning. Come and see me. I'll be in the war room and let's discuss your case, you know, and get it out of the way. So the quicker we get done, the quicker you have the results, the quicker you guys can pick up your mugs. And the other thing is, if you see Chuck on the race course during the race, and you know, you tell Chuck about it, Chuck is not on the rules committee, and chances are, I probably could bet a paycheck, Chuck's gonna forget by Sunday morning, and I'll get a phone call and say I talked to Chuck about it, and I'll talk to Chuck, and Chuck says I don't remember because he has a million things going. So just because you tell Chuck doesn't mean it's going to get to me, which means it won't do you any good. So even if you tell Chuck out there, make it a point to get somebody to the war room to either speak to me or other of the other judges on the panel, because Chuck just has too many things going. And the last thing is, we might have some construction that Chuck talked about. That we might have amendment rules with that construction area. I'm really going to be an Adam Henry with those construction areas, because it's going to be really, really paramount you follow the rules, because it's going to be dangerous during that time. So there's going to be few exceptions where I'm going to listen to a protest about a speeding violation or the wrong turn or somebody jumping over the concrete center divider to take the baton. It's going to be hard for me to justify kicking out that penalty. Other than those minor threats, you know, God bless you all. Stay safe, have fun, and tell your runners to drink after they run.
There are many people that make this race possible. A lot of them are in the room today, and I'm telling you, last minute phone calls for me to get somebody to come up and do something that I can't do myself at the time. And the RV support folks that are here, the rules committee people that are here, and just so many others that make what I'm trying to do and this race is trying to do possible. While you're on the race course, I know you do this because I run across those same groups of people, and they're happy with what they're doing. 6-7 hours sit in the middle of a desert, and they're still happy with what they're doing because they're dealing with pleasant people. Ugly circumstances, true, but they're dealing with pleasant people. And it's for that reason the race is successful. As difficult as it is to explain to other people, it's successful for that reason. And I certainly want to tell them thanks that they hear it here on this mic and that they hear it from me in person. So good luck on the race. We'll see you out there. If you have any questions, email me. We'll get the questions answered. Good luck.